welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ariel, and I want to give a huge congratulations and happy release day to Kaitlyn Swanson because it is pub day of book 2 of Queen of Blood and Stardust, Queen of the Crimson Throne. So I'll put both Queen of Blood and Stardust and Queen of the Crimson Throne on the screen here, and I just kind of want to talk about them. We're going to go all the way back to last year's book, Queen of Blood and Stardust, because that's book 1, and if you've never heard of it, like, you need to know, right? So Queen of Blood and Stardust is a fantasy romance that is for the readers who like From Blood to Ash, Serpents on the Wing of Night, the Empyrean series, ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, even the Player Prisoner series, anything in that, like, that genre, Spark of the Everflame, you know, that is kind of the vibes we're in, right? High stakes, quest, fantasy, romance with heavy romance, so it is adult. And the banter is really what gets you. So, like, it might be, like, a little bit more high fantasy aspects than, like, Fourth Wing, okay? But, like, the banter and the romance really make it accessible to people who are, like, just coming into the fantasy romance genre. And that's why I really loved it, because that's kind of where I was when I read this book last year. I had read Fourth Wing, I had read ACOTAR, I had read Shatter Me and Powerless and things like that, but Actually, I don't think I'd read Powerless yet. I just lied to you. I'm sorry. But, like, I had, like, just started to dip my toes into fantasy again. Like, you get the point. Obviously, I read Harry Potter, Twilight, okay? Things like that. So we're, like, just dipping the toes back in, and it was really accessible and easy to read. And, like, I kind of, like, just consumed it. Like, became my life. I love the book so much. I have a tattoo that reminds me of the book on my arm, and I want to finish it with actually, like, a quote of the book. Like, that is the level of love I have for this book, because it's just so accessible and so romantic and so precious. So what happens in it, right? That's kind of what you really would like to know. So we're gonna keep this spoiler free, so, like, don't worry about that. But you open up Queen of Blood and Stardust, and we're, like, talking first and second page, so don't come at me like I just told you this spoiler free and now I'm giving spoilers. It's not. Like, this is what is the beginning of the book. Is that Lennox's entire family, for the most part, has just been slaughtered by the vampires, and she has found herself unexpectedly as High Fae Queen. And she is not ready for that. She was not prepared for that. She doesn't even, like, understand how to live a life in which that she is the monarch. And, you know, because being the monarch, like, there are sacrifices that are expected of you. One, for instance, her brother was expected to enter an arranged marriage with the vampire princess. And that treaty does not get null and void just because he is, So, in comes Luca, who is the prince of the vampires, and his uncle has sent him, who's currently the ruling monarch of the vampires, and he has sent him to, like, talk out the treaty, like, what are we gonna do now that your brother's gone? Like, we still need this treaty in place. And Lennox is very opposed to the idea of an arranged marriage, okay? So what they're focused on is Luca says his uncle really wants this book. So they go on this quest with this book, and you get all these characters. There's Lucy, who is, or Luce, I don't really know how it's pronounced. It's Lucy with E in my head, who is this amazing witch. And you have Nico, who is a shapeshifter. And you have Kara, who is also a fae. And you have Declan, who is a harpy. So, like, think Bat Boys. And they're all, like, going on this quest to find this book and encountering also this species called the Veneer, who, like, seem to maybe be behind Lennox's death. Lennox's family's death. And also, like, they're just kind of like the bad guys. They're up to a lot of not great things, and they come, you know, it's not a journey unless there's some conflict. So there's some conflict with them throughout their journey as they're trying to find this book. Well, lo and behold, things don't turn out as one would hope at the end of book 1. I mean, it's a trilogy, so obviously everyone can't end on a happy ending on book 1. And so book 2, Luca and Lennox are forced to confront the fact that they're going to have to get an arranged marriage, which you would think would be fine, because obviously I told you this was heavy in the romance. So obviously your main characters have romantic entanglements, right? There is spice there. There's a one-horse trope. There's a one-bed trope. There's a Dorleen. There's good girl. There's all sorts of spicy fun there, right? But Luca and Lennox aren't for that, because Lennox is not for that, and Luca will do anything that Lennox wants. And so Lennox comes there, and her and Luca, like, they're not even on speaking terms, because she does not want to marry him that badly, and she feels betrayed at the beginning of the book because things didn't work out. And so you kind of get, like, this tension between the two of them, and, like, working through, like, that relationship and those very real, like, barriers of communication, and learning to communicate and learning to be a monarch and put your people above yourself. And at the same time, it's not a Queen of Blood and Stardust book unless there's a quest. So we are on to another quest. Lucy, Kara, Declan, and Nico are all back together. The gang's together, you guys. And we are looking for a different book this time, I think. I don't know. It could be the same book. The details are not important to me. I'm a character-driven person, okay? And you know, tensions bubble over. They do still have feelings for each other, and Luca and Lennox kind of have to address that with each other. But, like, book 2 is just really focused on that arranged marriage portion of it and the quest that they're going into. And this is really hard without giving you guys any spoilers, okay? That's why I, like, keep looking up, because I'm trying to think. But it just, like, it has you, like, you are in the thick of it this entire book, okay? Like, the tension is just so high, and the stakes are just so high, and you're terrified you're gonna lose someone. And so if you really think of a book, like book 2 or 3 of From Blood to Ash, when like shit is just hitting the fan, right? That is kind of where we are at in book 2. Like, everything is going wrong. Serpents of the Wing at Night, like, everything high stakes. Like, it's not a Hunger Games gladiator trial, that kind of trope, but like, it's just that high stakes, and the world just expands around you, and you really get to see more of it, which is fun, because you know, going into book 2, if you like follow along with Kaitlyn, that there is going to be a spin-off series from this world that's like going to be an interconnected series of characters you have met in book 1 and in book 2. Now, she hasn't told us who it's going to be, but my suspicions is that it is heavily following Lucy, and then I don't know who else. Not everyone agrees with me, and I get that, but that is where we're at. So if this sounds at all interesting to you, then I definitely recommend you check it out right away, because Queen of Blood and Stardust is available on Kindle Unlimited, and on February 14th, I'm going to be changing my fantasy book club from Onyx Storm to Queen of the Crimson Throne. So it's like that perfect time to use Queen of the Blood and Stardust as your hangover cure for Onyx Storm to like get back into fantasy. Like, I personally had to step away for a minute, go into some romance, but like, I'm ready to get back into fantasy. So I think this is that perfect, like, it's that perfect timing. Like, the timing is just impeccable. I cannot express enough how much I love these books. And if you want like more like tropes and things like that, make sure you go and check out either my Fable or my Goodreads review on it, because I do put it in there. But like, I wanted to chat about it for a second, and just again really wanted to say happy release day to Kaitlyn, and like give you guys some insight on this series, because it's just so good and not enough people have read it. And honestly, I think like anyone who does that, again, reads these books. Like, if you just read contemporary romance, you're probably not going to love Queen of Blood and Stardust. But if you read fantasy romance, you are going to love this book. So, read it. Come read Queen of the Crimson Throne with us, and let me know what you think. Because if there was one book recommendation that I could give you guys that I feel like not everyone's giving you, it is this one. This like blows my mind that people aren't reading this book. Like, it is so good. So read it and come back and tell me about it. Bye.